Hello everyone, welcome to Vishnu IAS Academy. Today, as part of our lazy prep, today we'll discuss about a Polity weekly current affairs. So let's begin with. So today we'll be discussing about all these current affairs like Manipur's president rule, right to repair, everything. So basically, if you read this PDF, it's enough for you, both in perspective of prelims as well as mains, and aspirants who are not only preparing for UPSC, even who are preparing for other competitive exams like state PSCs or SSC or anyone can easily happily study this and can, without any doubt in their mind, they can happily go to the exam. So we are launching only because to ease your current affair preparation. Okay, so let's begin with. So these are the contents we're gonna discuss, like Manipur, sustainable electronics, everything. So let's start with the president's rule in Manipur. If you observe, this president rule in Manipur, it has been extended from 13th August. So first it has been imposed in Feb 2025 because of the resignation of CM Biren Singh. So it started from then and now till it's continuing. Okay, so for everything we should know the reason, background, right? So the reason for this imposition of president rule is the conflict between two important communities in the Manipur. One is Methi community and Kuki-Zo. Why they are in conflict? Because Methi community, they are demanding ST status, but this Kuki-Zo tribes, they are opposing the ST demand status which should be given to the Methi. So that's why they both are fighting. So now the question is, what is president rule? So according to, because it's a polity, we need to remember the articles, right? But please don't mug up the articles as such. Whenever you are getting some current affair or static, when you are reading, that time you can easily remember the article. Please do not go and write somewhere the articles and don't try to mug up it. Okay, so now we are discussing about the president rule. So article 356 deals with the president rule. So it is actually, the president rule is not mentioned in the constitution. Instead of that, we can see state emergency which is mentioned in the constitution. And according to this article, if government fails to function as per the constitution, so you can easily remember in this way, 356 right, and constitution. So 356, when constitution of that particular state fails to function, that means if state doesn't abide the constitution, then this comes to play, because there are other articles related to the state emergency or president rule like 365. So most of the aspirants will get confused between these both articles. So when it is 6C, then constitution failure. Okay, so we'll discuss about 365 as well. So now coming to, if suppose this president rule under this article, if it's in functioning, if it's in imposed, then what happens? That's a question, right? So first, High Court of that state will remain same, and all the executive powers of the state will be transferred to center, and all the legislative powers of the state were given to the parliament, and now state government will be dismissed. So this is the effect of the imposition of president rule or the state emergency in that particular state. And now we are currently discussing about Manipur. Okay, and let's see now the articles linked to it. As I said, 355, it's a duty of union to protect the states. That's why now union government is involving in the Manipur and it's taking the control under the article 355. So but 356 6, constitution failure, constitution, that state is not abide to the constitution. That's why president rule has been now imposed. And I said one more 365 article which says it is imposed when state fails to compile union directions, because union is a it's like Raja or king, right? When he says something, or when union says something, when state doesn't abide to that, then if you impose president rule, if union impose president rule, that is according to Article 365. So if I say 365 is when state says no to union, and 356 is when state says no to constitution. 356 no to constitution, 365 no to union. And what is the duration? That's a big question mark. So when it is imposed, that should be approved by the parliament within the 2 months, and it is valid up to 6 months at a time. So if now it is been says yes by parliament, then it is valid up to 6 months, and it can be extend up to maximum of 3 years. And national emergency should be in force, then only it can be extended up to 3 years max, and can be revoked by the president at any time, and the revocation also done on the recommendation of Council of Ministers only. But it is not mentioned in the constitution, so it simply says revocation can be happen anytime with the president, by the president. And if you see, again there is a conflict, right? We are seeing about 356, and if you see 352, which deals with the national emergency. So whenever you get an emergency question, there should be some articles in your mind. 352, 355, 356 and 365. We discussed all these things. Now only if you see 352, it deals with the national emergency, and now a presidential emergency has been imposed in Manipur. So let's see the difference between the presidential rule and the national emergency in particular. If you observe the differences, aspect, as I said, 356 when state government fails, that it doesn't abide constitution, and national emergency due to war, aggression or any rebellion. Then area, only particular state, this national emergency, whole country, rights not suspended. But in a national emergency, Article 19 can be suspended. Approval, simple majority, and because it's a national emergency, special majority should require. We require special majority. And duration, maximum up to 3 years, and for national emergency, can be extended to any number of time, any number of days or time period. There is no time period. So impacts, as I said, no, because of the 356, what are the impacts we are seeing? No suspension of fundamental rights, and governor will act as on the behalf of, like, if president rule is imposed, governor will be the state head, and parliament take the legislature role, and state budget approved by the president, because now it should be approved by the legislature. Now because legislature role is played by the parliament, now president should approve the budget. And key facts about emergency in particular, till now in India, 134 plus times since 1950 this emergency has been imposed. It's a huge number, right? So first it started with Punjab in 1951, and most of the times Manipur and UP 10 times, and longest is been in Jammu and Kashmir for 12 plus years. And if you see some judgment related to this one, there is a famous Supreme Court judgment in Ansar Bommai case in 1994, where it says Article 356 used as subject to judicial review. So judicial review is a part of basic structure, as we know. So now this Article 356 is also under part of the judicial review. That has been said in SR Bommai case. And this imposition of 356 should not be under a political pool. That's what, it's not be used as a political tool, and it should be a last resort. That's what in this case Supreme Court has given the judgment. So that's why now if you see the mains question, it is also related to this only. And if you see last, we have asked, like, do you think it is misused or not? Because that's a big question mark, right? Because though in Supreme Court has a given judgment, it should not be used as a political tool. Some critics say that now they are using it as a political tool and they are misusing it. That's why this question plays an important role. So this is the all articles we have given in the answer, and especially when you see answers, always concentrate on the quotations we are going to give you. So this is said by Krishna Iyer, again as judge. Emergency powers must be exercised with extraordinary care, elsewhere they may become instrument of subversion. So please try to write all these quotations which we are giving you in a separate sheet of paper, and if possible, especially those who are writing mains, whether if you take PSU or UPSC, please daily revise that paper or the book where you are writing these quotations. It is very much helpful for your exam, that especially for mains. And for other prelims or for other competitive exams, if you study this question, you can easily remember the articles and the things associated with it. In this way, this can be useful for anyone. This is actually a one-stop solution for all competitive exam related current affairs. And if you see next our current affair, the right to repair and sustainable electronics in India. See, now we are fully concentrating on sustainability. So whenever we are using some resources, that should be kept for our future generations also. That's what sustainable means. Now, right to repair. Why? Because if you observe, in May 25, our Indian government has launched repairability index for phones and appliances, because when we are not reusing it, when we are just throwing it away, that phones or appliances, they cause lots of emissions. That's why it is very important for us to get repaired and used in a sustainable manner. So according to new e-waste policies, minimum payments to incentivize these formals are given. And what is the aim? To repair a consumer right. That means right to repair is one of the important right given to a customer or the consumer into a sustainable development. And if you see background, so in the whole world, first e-waste producer is none other than China, then USA, then third place goes to India. That's why we have launched this right to repair framework in 2020. In 2022, it has extended to electronics, automobiles and farm. And if you compare our model with the European Union model, spare parts and repair documentation are mandatory for manufacturers. So whenever we are manufacturing, these documents should be given. It's according to European Union, but we need to still implement it. So informal repair economy in India, if you go to Delhi and if you go to Hyderabad or Koti somewhere, we can see large number of markets, people are repairing those products, but they are not recognized. That's a problem. If we can easily recognize those people, it is easy for us to maintain this sustainability in the electronics as well. That's what we mentioned here. And let's see some of the key highlights. So if you see consumer rights dimensions, like what are the rights for the consumer? So Article 21, which deals with the right to life, even it says right to live with dignity. So that's what it's indirectly linked to sustainable consumption. And according to a Consumer Protection Act 2019, it says unfair trade practices but not strong on repair rights. That's what is a problem. Consumer rights, though it's inclined towards consumers, it's not saying fully about the repair rights. That's what the problem here is. So example, if you take farmers in USA, they have rights on repairing of tractors or all the agriculture devices they use. But India, we don't have those kind of regulations or those kind of practices. That's an important point to be noted. And if you see environment and sustainable aspect, if you see directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties, Article 48A and 51A is related to this environmental sustainability, related to this right to repair. And SC in Mehta versus Union of, this is very important case, because this recognizes sustainable development as a constitutional principle. This is very important. And right to repair, if you observe, it is important because it reduces e-waste and indirectly it aids for our goal to achieve mission life and SDG goal number 12. What is that? Well, responsible consumption. If you observe, next, economic and informal sector angle. So always National Skill Development Mission or e-Shram portal, they are for what? They are for all the workers who don't have any legal recognition. Like that workers, we launched a National Skill Development Program and e-Shram portal also. So that's why if you observe, mobile repair clusters in Delhi, Gaffa market it's an important cluster. And if you observe about the global and comparative lessons, EU Circular Economic Action Plan, this mandates repairability standards. And if you take another country, France, repair index, it gives all the manufacturers and the consumers the process of spare parts. It given a mandatory framework. So spare part availability, it has been mandated under this France repair index. And if you see the judicial and policy support needed, Assent Indian Council for Environmental Action 1996 says polluter always praise the principle and justify repair obligations for manufacturers. So whenever we are doing something, whenever polluter pays something to the manufacturer, because from there he'll buy the product, so that should be with the repair obligations. That's what it said in this 1996. And if you see some policy suggestions, which because we are not following that, right, because we don't have any legal backup for all the repair product to repair, especially mobile phones and all, because they'll give warranty or guarantee, that is for only some part they say. That's why repair criteria should be a public procurement, and labor codes or e-Shram portal should be implemented properly, and introduce vocational training for repair skills. What are vocational training? So that should be as a part of their language. If we give training in their language, it's easy for all the locals to understand and improve their skill. So in this way, it's also supporting vocal or local vocal, right? This is what we are concentrating upon. And this is how the mains question, if you see, right to repair is not only a consumer right, but it's a constitutional and environmental imperative. Discuss with example. So you have to see all the articles, and again these things, everything you can read because I have given in a proper way. And if you see, especially in the conclusion, because conclusion is the ending part. So whenever someone is correcting your paper, they'll first look into your intro and the side headings in the body and the conclusion, because conclusion decides your mind. Because if you are writing conclusion in a proper way, that's why your thinking ability will be tested in a conclusion. That's why it's very important to write a best conclusion. So if you see, Michael Polanyi is an important man who gave this quotation, we know more than we can tell. So he is the actual man. He is into everything. He is into philosophy, he is into physical research, he is into chemistry, everything. But he is the man we have to praise, because he started linking economy with the polity. Until polity or the governance is used as just a polity tool, but he said economy is the basic part of the polity. In order to get good governance, economic is a major tool. That's why he is a very famous person, and he is from the Budapest. Where is Budapest? It's in Europe. And if you observe next current affair, India's welfare state from rise to algorithm. We have an aim to establish a welfare state, but the rights now taking a algorithm part. That's what a question now. So if you observe Aadhaar, direct benefit transfer scheme, and CP grams, what is this? It's a grievance addressal portal. These are now going, rather than concentrating upon the rights or something, they're going just behind. That's what the thing is. So background, what is the background? Manrega, right to food. They are not like simply morals. They are now concentrating upon efficiency, speed and savings. So whenever if a poor guy wants to have some benefit transfer, first Aadhaar should be linked to the DPT or Aadhaar should be linked to his bank account. We don't know whether the Aadhaar which he owns is a correct or not. If it is not correct, he'll not be getting the benefit. If it is correct, he'll be getting the benefit. So based on the Aadhaar, based on the digital things, now we are giving all the benefits to society. That's what is a big question mark here. And if you observe, now it says efficiency versus empathy. So whether we are concentrating on efficiency or empathy is a big question mark here. So if you see Aadhaar and DPT, we observe a lot of leakages, but because of leakages, we are giving all the data of our customers or of people to other nations or other things. That's what your beneficiaries are in risk. And if you see, political accountability has been diluted. If you see vulnerable groups like SC, minorities and all, they were like before COVID era, if you take 11% of them used to get all the benefits. Now if you see, only 3% are getting the benefits. So because of that, we can see social sector shrinking also has been taken place because of this algorithm. And deeper democratic concern. What is it? It is, if you observe this Habermas, he also an important person in the polity and governance, where he says always this experts rule is whether whatever expert says, whether that should be followed or not, that is silence. That's what he says, because whenever expert says whether it's right or wrong, we'll accept, right? That's what he says. So whenever welfare or governance comes, so quoting him as an example will yield you nice marks. So now what is the context of welfare? That's an important question. Auditable but less answerable. So if you are doing some audit to check whether everything is going or not, that also should be done, but in a reasonable way. That should be right, and the things which are allocated to people, that has to be given, and undermines the deliberative democracy. So that it leads to deliberative democracy. That's what the actual meaning of welfare should be. But now it is little bit going away, but we have to take a place. And way forward, these are the some steps. Digital rights should be given with the explanation, and citizens should know what's there. It's a right to information, we can see, and grievance addressals should be included. These are the some of the way forward. And if you see one main question again, if you see one main question again, and all this which I have discussed, I have given answer again. Because welfare state, you need to first remember Amartya Sen. So Amartya Sen says development is freedom. This you have to remember whenever you get this type of question. You should quote this quotation. And next thing is a judicial overreach. So if you see, now there is a debate. So president timelines and governor timelines to sign a bill. Now judicial says there should be some timeline. That's what is now we are discussing. So if you see this SC Supreme Court judgment in April 8, 2025, it has says that governors to decide bills within a time limit, and this it says as a deemed assent, under which article 142. So now presidential reference, now after this judgment has been given, our president has immediately sent 14 constitution questions to a 5-judge bench under article 143. If you observe 142 means court is involving. 143 means president taking the help of Supreme Court. If he or she gets some doubt, he can take the help of the Supreme Court. So government argument, what it says, articles 200 to 201 deliberately avoids timelines. That's what government says. But if you see in particular about what is the core issue, if government has government which head is nothing but a governing the state wise and the center wise president. If judgment given by the Supreme Court or High Court decides the timeline of the government, then it actually implies to the certain things: separation of powers, basic structure doctrine, and governor's rule. These will be affected. That's what is a concern now. And if you see this means, because it is simple to understand, that's why I have given this as a mains question, model mains question with a proper intro and conclusion. So for this question in particular, because this is a ongoing debate, please write complete answer and share us to a Vishnu IAS Academy Gmail account, which I'll be giving the email in the description link, so that you can write the full answer and send us. So we'll be evaluating you and we'll be giving the feedback. So next, coming to the prelims facts. If you see, wherever in a whole part of India, rapes, punishment everywhere, right? Now, because now certain states like Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, they have passed their own anti-rape bills with the much stricter punishments. But in order to pass these bills, they need President Assent under Article 254 Clause 2. Why? Because now it has been clashed with the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So, which has been replaced IPC, right? IPC, now we call it as a Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So whenever some central law is conflict with the state law, then President Assent should be required. So if you see certain background of this rape cases or the punishment, first it started with 2012 Nirbhaya case, which triggered criminal law amendment 2013, and later we can see Vishaka guidelines also, and in the Kutua Unarao case, criminal law 2018 again amended, and now introduced the death penalty of raping children under 12 years. So for children under 12 years, it has imposed a death penalty with a faster investigation. So that's the present scenario. But if you see the constitutional basis, criminal law is under concurrent list, entry 1, list 3. This is very important. And this article 254, so because in a concurrent list, decision can be taken by both central and the state. Whenever conflict arises with certain law on the state list, President's assent is needed. That's what it says. So that's why, because we need the President assent, that's why all these bills are pending now. That's why it's very triggering point for all those states. So now if you take the highlights, central legal framework, those criminal laws amended twice or in 13 and 18 we have discussed, and Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. According to this, BNS replaced with now IPC has been replaced with the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, and because of this BNS, new norms for all sexual exploitation, but which excludes marital rape and partial or protection of male transgenders victims, also given under BNS but not under IPC. That's what you have to remember. And if you take the state level initiatives which are now pending, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh Disha Act 2019 and Maharashtra Shakti Bill 2021, West Bengal Aparajita Bill 2024 and Tamil Nadu 2025. These are certain bills which are pending, due to which now that is a triggering point for all those states. And now what are the major challenges? So if you see center state friction, because both are conflict, and judicial concerns, if you observe, always Article 21 says deadlines or a death penalty should be given to a particular rare exceptions, because it's avoiding the due process of law. That's why both are in conflict. And if you say gender exclusivity also plays a role, because usually we'll be concentrating more on men. That's why it's again challenge. And implementation gap, it is everything, for everything this is the major thing, because lack of forensic labs, for courts, judges, or trained police, whatever you say, these are the certain challenges associated with. And our next current affair based on Prelims would be NEP versus state policy. As we know, 2020 we have introduced National Education Policy. What is this National Education Policy? It's nothing but a 3-language or multi-language formula. But Tamil Nadu and Karnataka says we'll have our own language model or the education model. If you say Tamil Nadu, it says 2-language formula, Tamil plus English, and Karnataka says Kannada or mother tongue plus English. It's more or less similar to Tamil Nadu. But if you see NEP central policy, it recommends 3-language formula to promote multilingualism, because India is a country of different languages, different cultures. That's why now it's a debate, because it's a rising question on federalism and cultural identity as well. And if you see the background of this, Kothari Commission in 1968, it suggested 3-language formula because in order to promote unity and diversity. And Tamil Nadu anti-Hindi agitation started in 1960s. So they're full opponent to this Hindi language. And NEP 2020, it said according to Kothari Commission, 3 languages policy should be imposed. And it is also in line with UNESCO recommendation of mother tongue instructions. And if you see the constitution setting of this NEP and the language, we know that education is in concurrent list, so that both the center and state can have their laws. And Article 345 says state can choose their own official language. And Article 351 says directive to promote Hindi. You can remember this article 351(1), Hindi I. So this is related to Hindi. And this 345, if you see 4 plus 5, 9, right? 3 into 3, 9. So it's a states, all states together into center. So you can remember easily in this manner. And 8th schedule we see we have given the protection for 22 recognized language. So these are the legal backings related to the constitution. And key highlights, as I said, Tamil Nadu, it says 2-language policy. And if you see that to concentrate on the science, maths and all. And Karnataka says Kannada or mother tongue and rejects this Hindi formula again. And even Karnataka dropped Hindi as a 3rd language. And it also says state specific curriculum instead of following NCRTs. And NEP 2020, but NEP 2020 says Hindi is imposition is should, must and should, and demand for English and all those. But we know in order to implement this NEP, there is a big challenge regarding teachers and logistics, especially in the rural schools. And federal and constitutional dimensions, concurrent list, as we know, both center and state has responsibility. And if you observe the Supreme Court in TMA Pi Foundation case, it says states can have autonomy in regulating education. That's why now Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, they started building their own frameworks. And now if you observe, because of these frictions, 2,152 crore rupees has been pending for funds allocated to the Tamil Nadu by the center. And now let's go to the next one more current affair, process to remove judges in India. So judges, they play an important role, right? So now there is a debate because Justice Yashwant Verma, a High Court judge, now his process of removal has been motioned by the both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha regarding his removal. So if you see, in India, impeachment is a term we use only for the president, not for any officers or officials, because he is our first citizen and he is only impeached. Remaining all others are only removed, not even vice president. Only president is impeached. And if you see, for judges, whether if you take High Court or Supreme Court, they can be removed only proved misbehavior or incapacity. So on that grounds only they can be removed. And the constitution provisions, if you see related to them, 124 clause 4 removal of Supreme Court judges, 218 removal of High Court judges. See, always HC. If you write H as 8, it is 218. So it is related to the removal of High Court judges. And grounds, as I said, misbehavior or incapacity. So what is a removal process? It's not judges, according to Judges Enquiry Act 1968, the first initiation should be taken from both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha 100 or 50. Anyone can initiate the process, and after that a enquiry committee has been placed, like which has CJ or any higher judge in the Supreme Court under that related High Court Chief Justice and the eminent jurist. They have to inquire, then decide the removal of the judge, and they will support even the reports for that also. So now after that the submission, now the Parliament has to vote with a special majority. What is that special majority? 2/3 members present voting and majority of total membership. Now if both the houses agree, then President can send the removal. So past this happened, right? Justice Ramaswamy motion failed, and Justice Soumitra Sen and Deepak Mishra, because these all things are whether they have resigned before or rejected, but till now no judge has been ever removed since independence. Now it's important because always this removal will not happen because of the three reasons. Because judges removal is impossible, it's again a concern to our judiciary, that's why it will not happen, and it's a political nature. Some judges will be influenced by political parties, and judges are like they more refer like for a face value rather than the real consequences. That's why this usually will not happen, but because it's a news, it's very important for you to know the articles and the removal process. And again, as we promised, we will be daily giving you 3 MCQs with the answers and explanation. So our first question is regarding the High Court judges, and next is regarding the Tamil Nadu state education policy with the explanation and answer, and third would be a SIR, like electoral rolls of Bihar. This is not discussed, but it is in current affair, it's going process. If you have any doubt, you can watch. We have make a very important video on this Bihar controversy. You can go and watch, but though you can easily answer this. So that's it for today. Thank you. If you like our initiative, please like, share, comment and subscribe to our Vishnu IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you.